We are suggesting that Ryan Day may make a surprise pick when he names his new offensive coordinator at Ohio State to replace Chip Kelly. Who could that be? Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you're new, hit that free subscribe button down below while you're watching. We'd appreciate that. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. We have a short list of candidates for the new offensive coordinator job at Ohio State to replace Chip Kelly, but we also have a strong suggestion as well. We also have Big Ten news. It's recruiting. It's recruiting day. It's signing day on Wednesday, tomorrow, plus our Tuesday tweets. But first, Ryan Day. Congrats to your Ohio State Buckeyes. You won a national championship. Now everybody wants to poach your staff and your players and all of that. Now, first, let's review. Penn State, they stole defensive coordinator Jim Knowles, made him the highest paid coordinator in the game. Then the Las Vegas Raiders come calling. They stole offensive coordinator Chip Kelly, made him the highest paid coordinator in the NFL at $6 million a year, though. Nice job. So now what? Spring practice is weeks away, and Ryan Day needs to open the resume file sitting on his desk and find a couple of coordinators fast. Now, the defense might take a minute, but I have a surefire plan for his offensive coordinator hire. Are you ready for this? Are you ready? Ryan Day should hire Ryan Day. Hear me out. I got some other candidates I'm going to give you here in a minute, but first, I will go through the short list, but I want you to hear me out on the Ryan Day thing. Look, Ryan Day won a lot of games calling his own plays for the Buckeyes until last year when he delegated that duty in order to better manage this huge operation known as Ohio State football. And after falling short of his extremely high goals and expectations for 2023, he freed himself of the responsibility of running his offense on a day-to-day basis so that he can increase his CEO involvement in other strategic areas of this massive football program. It's one of the biggest in the country. Ohio State, Texas, they don't get any bigger than that. First and foremost, he had to get everything dialed in with the university's name, image, and likeness, collective up to snuff. He did all that. It worked. You just witnessed a $20 million roster win a national championship in college football. He doubled down on the transfer portal. First in recruiting his own guys and re-recruiting them so that they would stay in Columbus for another year instead of going to the NFL. You couldn't do that before. But with players earning money and the opportunity to earn money, now you can do that. It worked. He won a national championship. Recruiting, never a problem at Ohio State. It worked again. Always a top 5 program in recruiting. In fact, I'll make the case later on they're top 3 for this signing period coming up here. And, of course, last year, Ryan Day had to maneuver delegating his offense to a trusted offensive coordinator. And that almost blew up in his face at first. Remember with Bill O'Brien? He hired him, never unpacked his office. He was gone 3 weeks later on his way to Boston College. He got a head coaching opportunity. What are you going to do? But coming to the rescue was Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly was worn out. He wanted to take a break from all that CEO stuff, all that stuff we just mentioned that Ryan Day had to make time for. Chip Kelly didn't want to do any of that anymore. Just wanted to coach ball. All other stuff was nonsense. But that's the way the game is going now. Now, as you know, Day played quarterback for Chip Kelly back in New Hampshire way in the day, long time ago. And then he coached for Kelly on his staff with the Eagles of the 49ers in the NFL. So this was a comfortable match, bringing Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly was definitely somebody that Ryan Day could put his full trust in and just run the offense. And it worked. Together, the Buckeyes offense scored 36 points a game, and this duo, along with everybody else, won a national championship. Now Kelly is off to see if he can duplicate his offensive coordinator success with the Las Vegas Raiders. Maybe even get a third crack at being a head coach in the NFL. A lot of guys don't get third chances to be head coach. Some do. Some do. Pete Carroll did, right? Meanwhile, Ryan Day knows offense. He's great at working with quarterbacks. He's got a doozy of a talent coming in here to take his shot. It's the 5-star recruit, former Alabama transfer and redshirt freshman Julian Sand. He's ready to go. He's been sitting in the wings for a year. And I mean, Ryan Day, you telling me that developing a young man isn't the reason that Ryan Day got into coaching in the first place? He loves quarterbacks and quarterback speak and quarterback meetings and quarterback film and bringing a guy along. He's like a quarterback whisperer. He's had great success with quarterback. You tell me there's part of him doesn't want to get back to doing that on a regular basis? Been kind of busy lately doing all these other things. But those other things, they're running smoothly now. At Ohio State, these things are running smoothly in all facets of their football program. Day once delegated some football duties to run the office. Now, maybe he can delegate some of that office work that he's got running smoothly and jump back into running his offense and be his own offensive coordinator and play caller as head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Would love your thoughts on that. Hit me up with the comments on YouTube. But first, let's remember, if Ryan Day doesn't want to do that, there are a lot of coaches that want this job. A lot of coaches would give everything to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. First of all, they're loaded with talent. Just because they're losing a lot, they're keeping a lot. And it's a talent pipeline. Guys leave, guys come in or step up. But you got Jeremiah Smith. You get to be the offensive coordinator of Jeremiah Smith for another couple years. That's going to make you look good. He's going to make you look good. Now, even though quarterback Will Howard is leaving, I mentioned the very talented Julian Sayin, like Ryan Day might be itching to get in there and help develop a kid. What offensive coordinator wouldn't want to do that too with a 5-star recruit? And, he's got a year under his belt, Julian Sayin, been on campus. We could say he's kind of learned the system, but that system, Chip Kelly, is gone. So probably a new system. But, Ryan Day's fingerprints are going to be on last year's system and next year's, no matter who's running the offense. So how different can it be? So I don't think it'll be too much of a change for a young quarterback. Now, this is a big job. A lot of people want it. A lot of people can't handle it. And a lot of cases, I made this point the other day, a lot of young assistants aren't going to just be promoted. You got to have something on that resume, either a former head coach or a big-time offensive coordinator, somebody that's probably already known, somebody that's been at a pretty big program already, maybe a head coach looking to re-jumpstart his career, kind of like Chip Kelly was doing. But having said that, and if you missed our breaking news update on the Chip Kelly story when it broke Sunday night, Monday morning, I'll mention a couple more here. And I've had some more time to think about them as well. But an assistant that could move up is Brian Hartline, wide receivers coach at Ohio State. And, the best position coaches in the country, if not the best. He's a fantastic recruiter. There were multiple reports on Twitter that say it's a done deal. Ryan Day is going to hire a Hartline as offensive coordinator. Nobody really backed that up. And then we heard Ryan Day say, yeah, I'm going to take my time with all these coaching staff openings I have. He basically said, look, man, we're Ohio State. We can get the best in the country. I'm not going to be rushed into anything. Great attitude to have. But if it does come down to Hartline, he knows the players. He knows this offense. Like I said, he's one of the best position coaches in the country. And probably would have been the offensive coordinator this past year if the Bill O'Brien thing fell out, if Chip Kelly wasn't there. I think Hartline probably would have been the next guy in line. So we know he's a great recruiter. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith and Jigba, Emeka Ibuka. He's recruited all these guys. Who knows Jeremiah Smith better than Hartline? The move to him, that'll be seamless. That'd be seamless. Now, there's some other names out there. that I think I've kind of prioritized. There's a lot of names out there. I've kind of weeded through some of this with my own thoughts. Again, would love to hear your comments on it as well. But former Tulsa and Indiana head coach Kevin Wilson has history at Ohio State. Had the job before as a Buckeyes assistant from 2017 to 2022. He was offensive coordinator for most of those years. In 2018 and 2019, back-to-back 13-1 seasons. Why not? He seems to be available for this opportunity. And then I had one for fun, a spite category. If you missed this is a doozy. About going after Penn State offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki. Since James Franklin, Penn State just stole Buckeyes defensive coordinator Jim Knowles, why not steal their offensive coordinator? Runs a lot of multiple sets and formations. Be perfect at Ohio State. He's doing a great job at Penn State. That'd be funny. Anyway, your comments from Ryan Day on down to Andy Kotelnicki. Hit me up with your comments on YouTube. Would love to hear from you on that, you Buckeye fans especially. Hey, if you're new, be sure to subscribe. If you don't mind, just click it. It's free, and you don't have to think about it anymore. Subscribe and follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcast. That way you'll get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. And if you don't mind, share, like, and follow, please. Thank you very much. And don't forget, you can pick up some Big Ten gear, some Ohio State shirts, T-shirts, hats at our website, Talk Big 10, number 10, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts go, and links for you to buy merchandise. Talk Big 10. All right. With that in mind, we got signing day for recruits coming up Wednesday. Michigan is trying to close the best player left out there. There is momentum there. There are stories from other teams involving the Big Ten. And we have our Tuesday tweets. All that's coming up in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Want tickets to a big time event? With Big Time, go with Game Time. Whether it's a concert, comedy show, sporting event, you can use Game Time picks. It makes finding tickets easy. So it's simple. They got an app. It does all the hard work for you, weeds out everything. You don't have to waste time just through these endless lists of tickets. It gets it dialed in for you. So download the Game Time app on your phone or device, and you will absolutely love how great it is, how easy it is to get these deals. They have their super deals out there for a prime seat. You won't believe the value on this stuff. They have pictures of the seat you're about to buy a ticket for, all right there. And you got the Game Time's lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time. Easy cancellation options. If that comes up, life happens, right? So if you want to make that next event a big memory for you, download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. So download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Meanwhile, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And check out our website, talkbig10.com. So tomorrow is National Signing Day. This used to be one of the biggest deals in college football. It's still a big deal, don't get me wrong. But now with this early signing period that we have in December as well, doing that going on 8 years now. The traditional signing period, the first week of February, isn't quite the same. It's kind of like the rest of the best, if you will. Most guys already know where they're going. School's got guys, locked in, ready to go until they hit the next transfer portal. That's how it is now. But there's still some good players out there that are going to be making some of the biggest decisions of their lives, and some of those players are connected to Big Ten schools, so I thought we'd take a look at it here. So, all the announcements that we are expecting Wednesday. Let's start with offensive tackle Ty Haywood from Denton, Texas. He's huge, 6'5". He's, depending on your rating service, a 4-star, 5-star. Most people have him as a 5-star. And it's looking like Michigan has the best opportunity to close this deal, and that would really be an exclamation point on the recruiting class. Now, he said back in the summer he was going to go to Alabama. But when December came along in the early signing period, he didn't sign. And then he decommitted in January. And he's trending Michigan. Michigan got a late visit from him. But there's some uncertainty out there. Keep an eye out at Florida State or Texas Tech. But this would be a great get for Sharon Moore, just the final closing of the deal in this recruiting class. And this class already includes the number one recruit in the country in quarterback Bryce Underwood, who flipped from LSU at the last second before signing in December. And I think that has effect on players. Players like Haywood that might be on the fence between a couple of schools here and there. You know, you got a quarterback that's the number one guy in the country that's committed. That's gonna sway some people. That's gonna sway some people. So Ty Haywood, he's the biggest name out there that we'll be listening for on Wednesday. Other players, edge rusher Zahir Mathis from Philadelphia. Another 4-star, 5-star guy, 6'5", longtime Ohio State recruit. This is one that they didn't lock up. They did not close. And he reopened his commitment in the fall. Michigan couldn't get this guy. Couldn't really get in on it when he dropped out of Ohio State. It's Maryland seems to be the clubhouse leader here. Mike Loxley, this would be a great get for him. He needs it. Also, Virginia Tech making a late push. Florida State and UCLA have been mentioned. UCLA, another Big Ten school. But Maryland got him in for like a late visit. So last impression might be a factor here. Not necessarily going to make an announcement Wednesday from what we hear. So I don't know if this is going to linger or not. There's linebacker AJ Tuitele from Las Vegas. He signed with Washington State, got out of his agreement at the end of December, coaching change, choosing between Texas and USC now. That's weird. Usually you see guys being recruited by certain schools, groups of schools. Washington State's usually not lumped in with Texas and USC. So I don't know if he was starting to head to Washington State and then got wind that maybe he could get a better deal, a better school at USC or Texas. I mean, USC and Texas battle for players, but usually not Washington State. There's offensive lineman Peter Lange. He signed with Washington back in December. He got out of that deal. Just thought it'd be a better fit somewhere else, and they let him out of his deal. Looking like Arizona, maybe. So there are a lot of recruiting services out there. One of them I'll throw out there, 24/7. 24/7 Sports, they have ranked this recruiting class of 2025. They got, I'll share it with you. They got Texas at number 1, Georgia at number 2, and then Ohio State, the highest ranked Big Ten team on the list, at number 3. And again, Ohio State never slips. They're always top 3, top 4, top 5. Don't forget Tavian St. Clair coming in. That's exciting. They got loaded at quarterback with young quarterbacks. We just talked about Julian saying that Tavian St. Clair is coming too. Another 5-star. Alabama at 4. Oregon, another Big Ten team. They're at number 5. So 2 teams from the Big Ten to the top 5. Auburn 6. Michigan, good recruiting class at number 7. I think it a year ago, this was starting out, 2025 is starting out slowly, but Sharon Moore, Michigan, solid at number 7. Bryce Underwood doesn't hurt your rankings at all. Again, don't underestimate the ability of him being there, having other players gravitate to Michigan as well. Florida at number 8, Texas A&M 9, and LSU rounding out the top 10. In 2026 news, Wisconsin in-state offensive lineman from 2026, Sam Simpson. Not going to Wisconsin. That's a loss for them. Going to another Big Ten school, Kurt Signetti, Indiana. That's a good get for the Hoosiers. Who's choosing between IU and Wisconsin and Kansas and Iowa State and Iowa and Illinois. All over the Midwest. He's a 3-star interior lineman. That was the number 2 player from the state of Wisconsin. Got out of the state of Wisconsin. From player movement to staff movement. So Washington, the Huskies, losing another coach's son from the football staff. Now, this is the day after the Las Vegas Raiders head coach Pete Carroll named Ohio State offensive coordinator Chip Kelly as his own offensive coordinator. Carroll is now hiring his own son, Brennan Carroll, to be the offensive line coach and the run game coordinator. The younger Carroll, he was the offensive coordinator and offensive line coach with the Huskies this past year under Jed Fish. Fish lost another coordinator and a coach's son from his staff a few weeks ago in Steve Belichick. The Huskies defensive coordinator left to join his father, Bill Belichick, at North Carolina. And one other note, yesterday, that was a pretty interesting podcast. I think we always have an interesting podcast, but interesting story how Matt Rule is pretty much going to cancel the spring game in Nebraska because he doesn't want his players getting discovered and poached. And so while he's down on the spring game, Shiana and Rutgers all over it. Got it booked on the calendar. They're ready to go, full steam ahead. They just announced their spring game. It will be Saturday in their home football stadium, April 26th at 3 p.m. They got 11 new players in the transfer portal to show off. So spring football is happening at some places. All right, we got a Peacock triple header tonight for men's basketball. Number 10, Purdue is at Iowa. That's at 7 o'clock Eastern on Peacock. Indiana is at number 17, Wisconsin, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific on Peacock. And then the late game on Peacock, number 7, Michigan State at UCLA, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific on Peacock. And that one, of course, if Tom Izzo wins, he will tie Bob Knight for the most Big Ten wins in conference history. There's some other games. Minnesota's at Penn State, 7 o'clock Eastern on the Big Ten Network, followed by their second game of their doubleheader, USC at Northwestern, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific on the Big Ten Network. No women's games tonight, but one to keep an eye on. I mentioned this yesterday on Wednesday. Number 8, Ohio State at number 1, and undefeated UCLA, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on Peacock tomorrow night with women's hoops. All right. We always do features at the end of the program. Tuesday, we got Tuesday tweets. That's coming up. We always look forward to that. That's next right here on Locked On Big Ten. All right, it's time for our feature here on Tuesday. If you're new to the program, we do features. Mondays is my top 10 Big Ten observations. Tuesday tweets. Wednesday, some sort of power ranking. Thursday, we look at Big Ten classics on the Big Ten Network. Friday, we make our picks going into the weekend of big games. All right, let's do some tweets. I'm going to put them on full screen here. If you're audio only, no problem. We'll describe it in detail for you and let you know what we got up here. And by the way, you hit me up with a tweet on Twitter at X, at Talk Big Ten. I find something, I'll put it on the show. Go ahead and send it out to me. All right, this is from at Ohio State Attic. He says, there is no way that Ryan Day could go into next season with a first-time offensive coordinator and Hartline, we just discussed, full-time defensive coordinator, and break in a new quarterback and new running back. Recipe for a tough season, in my opinion. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Look, it's not like the cupboard is bare. All right, so we'll let it play out. Let it play out first. Here is from at Silver Bulletin, and I believe it's something that Ryan Day had tweeted out, an overhead drone shot of Ohio Stadium. It says, Ryan Day letting us know 210 days until the Buckeyes are back in the shoe. It says Day is moving different in this championship run. What, is he doing more social media these days? Of course, Swanky Wolverine wants to rain on the Buckeyes parade here. This is live look at Columbus this morning. It's a picture from the movie Titanic on the deck with people moving the violins and some people jumping ship. One's Chip Kelly, one's Jim Knowles. Of course, there's Ryan Day. Funny if you're a Michigan fan, not so much if you're an Ohio State fan. Here's another one from at Sharon Moore season. Thank you, Chip Kelly. You will be missed. It is a screenshot of Michigan's win over Ohio State, 13-10 back in November. When one valid criticism of Chip Kelly was his conservative play calling, running right into the teeth of the Michigan defense over and over, may have cost the Buckeyes that game. I think that's a fair criticism. Think about if his season had ended there. Chip Kelly would not be the hot item, but they just got everybody's attention in the playoffs with that 4-game run. It was spectacular how things could change in a matter of games. And one more shot for Michigan at Ohio State. It is a picture of a Michigan flag at the 50-yard line from overhead at Ohio State from the Michigan podcast. Gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. All right. By the way, this is from U of M coverage. This is Kirk Herbstreit and his kid, Chase Herbstreit. Remember, they didn't go to Ohio State. They didn't offer him anything. He went to Michigan. 2025 Michigan quarterback signee Chase Herbstreit on his official visit. There's Kirk Herbstreit in the picture too, the family, mom, brother, Wolverine. I really would have liked to have been a fly on that wall, both when Ryan Day was told and both when the Herbstreit family was huddled together over dinner. And son says, you know what? Going to Michigan, Dad. That would have been funny. No matter what sport it is, Michigan and Ohio State, tough battle. This is from at Ohio State Buckeyes. Victory. Ohio State dominating Michigan 25-14 in wrestling. Here's one from at Barstool Skurs, Huskers. Wake up. We got a special teams coordinator. This is the Tennessee Titans. Special teams coordinator Mike Eckler leaving for Nebraska, for the Tennessee Vols. And here is from at Barstool Husker. Also, Notre Dame transfer offensive lineman Rocco Spindler committing to Nebraska. All these linemen from Notre Dame transferring elsewhere. Their center went to Indiana. Here's from at ESPN. Back-to-back ranked wins for Nebraska after beating number 16 Oregon at Oregon. 77-71. Good win for the Hoops. Interesting question from at College Football on Fox. It's Super Week. Who would you rather have your school win the college football playoff or your NFL team win the Super Bowl? There's a picture of Ohio State kissing a trophy on the left, Pat Mahomes Super Bowl trophy on the right. That's an interesting question. Would you rather have your favorite college team or your favorite NFL team win it all? You know, it'd probably be a little perspective if your team has ever had any success before in the past or none whatsoever. Might affect how you decide. And finally, I wanted to throw this in from at College Basketball Report. It's a picture of Dick Vitale. This looks like it is in Bloomington because I see some Hoosier fans behind him. Dick Vitale will call his first college basketball game in nearly 2 years Saturday as Duke takes on Clemson. Great news. As you know, he's been battling multiple rounds of cancer. And then he was supposed to come back a couple of weeks ago, but had a spill in his home. I mean, he's well into his 80s, and he's still going. And what a proponent for basketball and Big Ten basketball, too. We wish Dick Vitale well, and hope everything goes well for that Duke-Clemson game for his first broadcast back. That's great news because he's been through lots of battles. Keep the prayers coming. All right, that's it for our Tuesday tweets. Always fun. If you want to send me one at X, at Talk Big Ten, hit me up, and I'll be glad to put it on every Tuesday as we do it here. Plenty of news. We got signing day tomorrow. Keeping track of everybody in football, basketball in full swing. We got it all here. Here on Locked On Big Ten, we are your source every day for news, breaking news, and opinion. We do that a lot. Opinion and analysis. Nowhere else can you get all of that. Just in one place under one umbrella every single day right here on Locked On Big Ten. Thanks for joining us today. I always appreciate it. Never take it for granted. And I look forward to talking with you again tomorrow. Tell your friends about us. We're here every day. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman.